Hi, and welcome to today's episode. I'm Laura Lee, and today we're talking about something that's surrounded by a lot of misconceptions: pre-settlement funding. You may have heard about pre-settlement funding, but maybe you aren't sure how it works. Or maybe you've even come across some myths about it that made you hesitate to learn more. For example, isn't pre-settlement funding just a loan? Or what if it's too expensive? Or maybe, will it affect my case? These questions and concerns are completely valid, and today we're going to tackle them head on. In this episode, we're going to debunk the top myths about pre-settlement funding. We're going to explain the truth behind these misconceptions and share real-life stories from people who used pre-settlement funding to regain control of their finances during difficult times. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear understanding of how pre-settlement funding works, why it's not a loan, and why so many people turn to it when they need help. Let's get started. Let's start with the biggest myth. Isn't pre-settlement funding just another type of loan? At first glance, it's easy to see why people might think that. After all, pre-settlement funding provides you with money up front, just like a loan would. But that's where the similarities end. And here's the truth. Pre-settlement funding is not a loan. First, there's no credit checks. Unlike a traditional loan, pre-settlement funding doesn't rely on your credit score. Approval is based entirely on the strength of your case. Secondly, no monthly payments. Loans require regular monthly payments. With pre-settlement funding, there's no payments at all while your case is ongoing. And third, no risk. And here is the biggest difference. If your case doesn't resolve in your favor, then you don't repay the advance. That's what makes it risk-free. Take Emily, for example. She was in a car accident and needed help paying her medical bills while she was waiting for her case to settle. At first, she was really hesitant to apply for pre-settlement funding because she thought it would be like taking out a loan. But after learning more, she realized there was no monthly payments, no credit checks involved, and if her case didn't succeed, she wouldn't owe anything. Emily later told me it was such a relief to know that I could get the help I needed without worrying about taking on more debt. Let's look at myth number 2. Pre-settlement funding is too expensive. Let's be honest. Pre-settlement funding does come with a cost. After all, companies like Stonewood Funding are taking on significant risk by providing cash advantages with no guarantee of repayment. But here's the thing. The costs are transparent and clearly outlined before you accept any funding. Here's what you need to know about costs. First, you'll know exactly how much you're going to repay if your case resolves in your favor. 2, there's no hidden fees or surprise charges. And finally, if your case doesn't succeed, you don't owe anything. Compare this to a loan or credit card debt where interest can pile up quickly and repayment is required no matter what. James is an example. He was a construction worker who was injured on the job. He needed money to pay for physical therapy, but he was worried that pre-settlement funding was going to cost too much. However, after speaking with Stonewood Funding, he learned about the risk-free nature of the service, and he decided to move forward. James later said, "When my case settled, I repaid the advance without any surprises. Knowing the cost upfront gave me the confidence to move forward." And myth number 3. Pre-settlement funding will affect my case. This is a common concern, but it's completely unfounded, and here's why. First, no influence on legal strategy. Pre-settlement funding providers like Stonewood Funding have no say in how your attorney handles your case. 2, confidentiality. Your attorney works directly with the funding company to share only the information necessary to elevate your case. Your personal details and legal strategy always remain confidential. And third, attorney recommendations. Many attorneys recommend pre-settlement funding because it allows plaintiffs to avoid settling too early or for too little due to financial pressures. Maria filed a medical malpractice case after surgery error left her with long-term complications. She was worried that applying for pre-settlement funding might interfere with her attorney's work. After discussing it with her lawyer, she learned that funding would give her the financial stability to focus on recovery while her attorney fought for a fair settlement. Maria told me the funding actually gave me more time to build a stronger case. It didn't just help me financially, it helped my attorney fight for the justice I deserved. As you can see, the myths surrounding pre-settlement funding often stem from misunderstandings. But the truth is, this service has helped thousands of people regain control of their finances during incredibly challenging times. Here's why pre-settlement funding is such a powerful lifeline. First, it's risk-free. If your case doesn't succeed, you don't owe anything. And second, it's flexible. You can use the money for whatever you need: medical bills, rent, groceries, childcare, or even transportation to doctor appointments. And third, it's fast. Funds are often available in as little as 24 to 48 hours. When you're dealing with financial stress, every day matters. Pre-settlement funding gives you the relief you need so you can focus on your recovery and your case, not on how you're going to pay your bills. If you're struggling financially while waiting for your case to settle, don't let myths about pre-settlement funding hold you back. Getting started is simple. Visit stonewoodfunding.com and then fill out a quick application. We'll work directly with your attorney to review your case. Once approved, you will receive funding in as little as 24 hours. Thanks for joining me on today's episode. If this information resonated with you, or if you know someone who might benefit, please share this podcast. Remember, Stonewood Funding isn't just a service. It's a lifeline for people in need. Until next time, I'm Laura Lee, reminding you to focus on your recovery, not on the myths.